Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be going over just a couple of things for the second interim report of your semester project. I'm not going to be going over absolutely everything that you're going to need to do, but I am going to show you guys how to do the cut and fill profiles and volumes for your pieces, whether it be your sidewalks, your pad, your retention ponds if you want to design them yourself. Anything like that. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that in Civil 3D. So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need like an object. Like here I've already drawn a pad, as you can see, this polyline right here. So there's a few things that we have to do to get started essentially for this to turn into a surface that we can then grade. So for the first thing, what we need to do is we want to go to feature lines up here, and we're going to create feature lines from objects. So it gives us this tool where we can start selecting, and then once I've hit select, I'm just going to hit enter, and now I can start basically creating a feature line. We've done this in the past with pads, like in our previous assignments. So I'm going to go over here and let's call this pad. And what we want to do is we want to have erase existing entities selected and assign elevations. This will probably be unchecked for you guys at first. You want to make sure that you do check this. That's pretty important because what that's going to allow us to do is just like give this pad elevations based off of the surface we're drawing it on. So I'm going to hit OK. And then you get this pop-up, so assign elevations. We're going to assign elevations from a surface, and the only surface we have is our existing surface. I called it existing, maybe called the ground surface. That is totally fine. You can do that however you want. So then there's also insert intermediate grade breakpoints. We'll leave that checked for now. We'll leave that checked. So I'm going to hit OK, and as you can see, I now have a feature line. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go up to alignment and just start making an alignment. So I'm going to make a pad alignment. As you can see, I've already done this before, but I'm going through all the steps again. So I'm going to call this pad alignment new, just for me, and demonstration purposes. So the alignment style, we could stick with basic. You can go in and change that if you want to like proposed or existing, but I'm going to keep basic here, and I don't want any labels. It's just going to start making things messy, and the information on those alignments isn't necessarily important, so I'm just going to leave that empty as well, and then I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to go up to this tool on top, and I want to draw tangent to tangent with no curves. I want this line to be perfectly straight. So I have to specify a start point. And what I want to do to actually make everything pretty even is I'm going to go up and like go to this snap point, and I'm going to follow this line down. And I kind of want it down over here. So I'm actually going to type in 25. And it's going to put it 25 feet down from there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go over here and start tracing it down. It doesn't matter how far down you go. But I'm going to hit... it did the distance, didn't it? Let's try that again. So we have pad alignment new. Okay. And I want that. Cool. So going down, 25. That's good. Let's do it like this. There we go. And I'm going to hit escape. I'm doing that for a particular reason. I want it to cross this contour line over here. So when we do the profile view, you can see more like cut and fill stuff. It's not as easy to see it over here. But cool. So now I have my alignment, and that is fantastic. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start making profiles. I'm going to zoom out a little bit over here. So I want to do create surface profile. Alright, so I have pad alignment new and existing surfaces. Alright, I'm going to hit add. I'm going to hit draw on profile view. Alright, so what we have to do here is sometimes Civil 3D likes to be a little bit messy, and you guys have had this problem pop up where you draw a profile and it looks like super long or something like that. I'm going to show you guys really quickly how to change that. We're not going to change it in here, but we're going to change that like directly after. But we're fine here. We have everything we want, so it's pad alignment new, we're doing profile view, pad existing. So this is the name of our profile. So I'm going to just put that right in there. As you can see, we have like a lot of unnecessary space up and down and left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and right click this. And I can go to profile view properties. And this is one of the weird things about Civil 3D and sometimes its own formatting. The automatic range, it's actually a good automatic range, but it's just not doing that. Sometimes you have to force it to do it. So I'm going to do user specified range. And we'd be starting right at 0, so maybe I put this at like -15. And then I'm going to put this out to, let's just say 45. Okay, so all I'm doing there is I have everything that I want that's going to be in this range, which is how long our pad is, but I'm going to have that in that range. So I'm going to hit apply, and as you can see, look at that, it's much easier to handle. That is just, it's smaller, it's not taking up a lot of space, it's a lot easier to manage. We also know, so this is 548 down here, this has got to be 550 because this is 552 up here, and we're starting from 0 to the end. So what I want to do here is I can change what the height is over here as well. So let's go to user specified height, and I'm going to do, let's keep it at 548, and let's just make the max height like 551. Hit apply. Yeah, that's nice. That's looking a lot better. You can leave it at 552 if you want, just because of how your x-axes are labeled. So that's up to you guys. And if they're not labeled, you have to make sure you go in and at least label like the minor lines. So I'm gonna hit OK over here. And then what we can also do, which is really nice, is I can right click on this and edit profile view style as well. I can go to vertical exaggeration, so this is in graph, vertical exaggeration, and let's say I want to make this like 10. Let's see what happens. You can see it squishes down, so I'm going to make it 20. Perfect. Alright, so I think that's good. I think this is good for our purposes right now. So I'm going to hit OK. And like I was just saying, we can see that this pad is somewhere almost at like 549, because this line is 550, right? So it's like the lowest point is like a little bit lower than 549, and the highest point isn't even at 550, so it's somewhere in 549. So this is actually pretty level by a foot or so, but it's all messed up, and we want to make this, let's make it a flat surface. So what we have to do is we have to kind of define a height that we want this to be at. So I'm actually going to make mine at 549, like even, which will probably come in right through here. It'll look like we have a lot more to cut than fill, but remember, this is all within like less than a foot of elevation, so it's not a lot of dirt that we're actually moving around, and it's a fairly simple job. So I want everything to be that height. So I'm going to go in, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my pad, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to elevation editor. Okay, you can also just go to the pad over here, and when you select on it, it says feature line pad. Elevation editor is right there. So these are all the elevations, and these are all the breakpoints. If you don't include the breakpoints, it'll just be all the points with like the triangles and whatnot. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and make everything 549. So I'm going to do that real quick, just to show you. I'll cut it out of the video. Alright, so now I have everything at 549. That's all of the breakpoints and the corners. If you don't include the breakpoints, like I said, it'll just be these little triangles, which are your corners for the pad. So that's all that is over there. So now I've changed all of that in the pad to 549. Alright. So the next thing we want to do, I'm going to unselect my surface, or my feature line, because I'm going to make it a surface. So I want to go to surfaces here and right click and create a surface. Okay, so I will be making a tin surface. And let's call this pad surface. Okay, so that is what I want, and I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so now I have a pad surface. And what I want to do is I want to go to the pad surface, open it up, and open up definition. And what I want to do is go to break lines right here, right click, and I'm going to add. Now it's giving me a description that I need to put in, so I'm going to say pad surface over here. That's the name of what I'm doing for my break lines, and we will be set. Everything else over here we're going to keep just the same. So I hit OK. What it wants me to do is it wants me to select an object, so I'm going to select that one object. I'm going to hit enter. Okay. And now what it did is it's making a new surface for this pad. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is, and you can see it made a new surface, so there's like a little bit new contour lines in there and everything because the pad grade is different. So what I want to do is go to my create profile. Excuse me. What I want to do is I want to go and create another profile. So I'm going to create a surface profile, and I want to select this pad surface as well. So pad alignment new, and I'm going to hit add down here, and then I'm going to hit draw on profile view. Okay, so now there's a couple of different things that we're going to do over here. So we're going to keep all of this the same, but what we want to do is we want to go to profile hatch options, and we want to add in the cut area and the fill area. That's great, right? So what we need to do, or at least be aware of, is that, so we have a new pad, and we want we want our cuts to go down to the design surface because we're cutting from the existing to the design, and we want our fills to go from the design to the new design surface, right? So, and this is already starting to fill out this information for us. So our cut, the upper boundary is going to be our existing surface, and our lower boundary is going to be our pad surface. We're cutting from the existing to our design pad surface. Whereas the fill, the lower boundary is going to be the existing surface, and we have to fill up to the pad surface, correct? So now that I have both of those things done, I'm going to hit create in profile view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my new profile here. I had to redo it real quick because one of the points I had in my surface when I made it originally, I changed everything to 549 in the elevation editor, but one point said 548 and not 549, and I needed to fix that. That's why I saw some contour lines in there. We don't want contour lines, and this isn't going to this alignment. This alignment is separate from this contour line here, so that's not a connected piece. So now it's perfectly flat, which it should be, and you can see in this previous profile, it already put in our new design profile, and I'm going to have that as well over here. You can see that I'm going to be cutting in the red and filling in the green. So what you'll need to do is you can change your profile view again to look something similar to this, so it's taking up a lot less space. And you'll probably also want to annotate it with some multi-leaders. And just say like what is what, you know, like this is going to be your design, yes, and then you can like scale that appropriately so it doesn't look ridiculous, like it's just like a little word or something down there. But yeah, so that's what you guys will have to do for this project. So yeah, so you're going to be doing that for just your pad, or not just your pad, but when you put in any sidewalks or anything like that. Let's say you throw in a sidewalk that's going along this way and connects to a couple of things. You might have to do one or two of these new profiles, and you'll want to draw your feature line, or your alignment, not your feature line, your alignment down the middle of them to show how you're grading them, because when you do a line going through all of this, it's not going to be perfectly flat line. It's going to look something like this. So you want to make sure that you have the appropriate grading to the line, that it's ADA compliant and everything else. So you're going to be doing that for your sidewalks, for your pad, and probably also your retention garden, if you put one down here or up in here, wherever you want to put it. You'll want to do that for all of those things. Alright, so what I also want to show you guys is how to create a cut and fill surface. So this is to determine the overall volume of land that we're going to have to cut and fill based off of the design surfaces that we make. So we just did our profiles, but this doesn't tell us everything about what we need to move in this area. And maybe this helps you guys determine whether or not the way you designed it is appropriate and you have to redesign it, or if you just want to keep it. So this is going to be pretty important. So there's a couple of things that we need to do real quick, and it's basically just has to do with building another new surface. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing in a way, and it's going to show up down here, not as one of these types of surfaces, but it's going to be called a volume surface. So we're going to do that real quick. Alright, so where we want to go is we want to go to the Analyze tab over here, and we have this volumes dashboard. So we're going to click on that. And what we need to do is we need to create a new surface. So we know in Civil 3D anything with like this little gold star is usually something where we create something that's brand new. So I'm going to create a brand new surface over here. Okay, so it's asking me to put in a new name, so I'm going to call this pad volume surface, and I'm fine with my cut and fill banding being 1 foot. That's totally fine. Description, I don't really need a description right here, or I'm not going to put in one. If you want to put in one, go for it. It's totally fine. But what I need to do is I need to define my base surface and my comparison surface. So my base surface is going to be the existing surface, and my comparison is my new surface, so my pad surface, which is perfectly flat. And I'm going to hit OK. And if this says out of date, that is totally fine. That's because I changed something in my existing surface. I actually deleted a point, and I don't want to rebuild my surface because I deleted a point, because that's just less information that it's going to be building my surface from. So I got rid of a tree over here and a drain. So this contour is still the same as it was when I originally built this surface, but if I were to rebuild that surface, that would go away, and it's just less information that I have, and it's less accurate. So I just want to keep that there for now. So that's the only reason why it's saying out of date over here. Alright, so after I have that, what I want to do is I want to go right up to this little guy right over here, and when I hover over it says generate cut and fill report. So I'm going to click on that, and I had this guy selected. If I select a whole bunch of them, the cut and fill report will be for everything. And it'll be for all these different volumes and then the totals. So this is my pad volume surface. If I had another one over here, it would give me all that information. So it can do all of them all at once, and it gives me my totals. So net, I have 20.1 cubic yards that I have to cut, and I have 0.02 cubic yards that I need to fill. So maybe I need to lower or raise my surface height for the pad a little bit to maybe 495.3 or something if I wanted it to be even, or maybe I don't because I'm going to be cutting and filling other things in the area. Maybe there's a lot of other locations around here that need a little bit more fill, so I want to try to get the net down to a low number, just because it's easier to tell a contractor that you don't have to spend money on moving dirt from other places around. But that's up to you guys to decide. because it does cost money, especially when you cut, that you have to take the dirt away, and if you have to fill, that means you have to bring dirt on site, and there's pros and cons to both of those situations. But yeah, so I have my cut and fill report, and this opens up in this is like an Internet Explorer window. This is just how it opens, so you can just take it out of here, like print it to a PDF or something, and submit that with your final report, or in your written final report as you describe things. So we have that. Another thing to note is that as we go through all this kind of stuff, we can also visually check to see what our surface is actually going to look like over here. So my pad volume surface, if I go to surface properties, I believe I already have this turned off, so that's why I'm going in here. Yeah, I already have it turned off. So for you guys, when you draw this your first time, I'm going to the properties right now. This will most likely be turned on, and you'll have like all this blue stuff going on over here. I'm gonna hit OK. So this is just kind of showing visually your cut and fill. So a lot of this is cut, and this is going to be fill. So that it's just kind of showing visually what it's going to end up looking like. And if you don't want to see that, it is drawn, or at least displayed, with this elevations layer in 0. So that's just how it's being displayed. So I'm going to turn that off and hit apply. Okay, apply. See, so now it's gone. So you can hide that, and so it's not a mess. It's just there visually for you to look at. So you'll want to do that for all of your other surfaces as well, where you're going to be cutting and filling, and submit that as a complete report. That way you can talk about what the expenditures might be, or anything like that that you deem appropriate. So yeah, that's the last bit with all the cutting and filling for the surfaces for you guys that you're going to be doing in Interim Report 2 for your semester project. So thanks guys, appreciate it.